All right, so today's class we are looking at functions, and then we are going to look at graphing the functions as well. Now, you may have seen these before as they're sometimes called in and out tables. They're also called a table of values. So you may already be familiar with them already. We're going to call them functions here. So very similar to substitution. So when we were working on those algebraic substitution questions, it is very, very similar to that. Only what's happening here is we're going to substitute different numbers for the same variable. So for example, the variable is x, and we can substitute in 0 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 7. We can substitute any of these numbers into the equation where we see the x. All right, so let's take a look at our first example. So we're told that x are these values here, 0, 1, 2, 4, and 7. And our equation is y equals x plus 8. So all we got to do is substitute these values of x into the equation here for x. So that's our first step. It is just substitution. So I'm just going to do it here. Our first step, substitution. So first value is 0. So we end up with 0 plus 8, which is just equal to 8. Next, we have 1 for the value of x. So we have 1 plus 8, which gives me 9. And we're going to continue that. Next value for x is 2. So put that in here. We get 10. And just continue here. Keep in mind the next value is not 3, it's been given as 4. So we would put 4 plus 8, which is 12. And the last value we're given here is 7. So 7 plus 8, which is 15. All right, so that was our first step, which is substitution. So our final result then, you could just draw another table here showing what x is and what y is. So when x was 0, our value for y was 8. When x was 1, our value for y was 9. At 2, the value for y was 10. When we have 4, the value was 12. And then when we had 7, our value was 15. And what you're going to notice now is we have x and y values, and x and y values are what we use to plot on a coordinate grid or on a graph. All right, let's do this one for practice. So we're going to complete the function tables. So our next equation is 8x plus 2. So follow along while we do this. So for our first value here, remember, when we're substituting, use brackets here because 8x means 8 times x. So that becomes 8 times 0 plus 2. 8 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. Next, we have 1. So again, we're going to put that in to our equation. So this time we have 8 times 1, which is 8, plus 2, which gives me 10. Next, we have 2. So 8 times 2 plus 2. So 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 2 gives me 18. 2 more to go. 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 2 gives me 26. And last one, we have 8 times 4, which is 32, plus 2, which gives me 34. So these are our values of y. These are the values for x. So what I'd like you guys to do next is try this next function table. These are the values for x. This is your equation. Y is equal to x divided by 4. 1 is already done for you here. So it would have been 12 divided by 4, which gives me 3. So I just need you to figure out the other 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And just put your answers into the private chat, please. All right, so our next example here, which is y is equal to x divided by 4. So for each value of x, we're going to substitute it into this equation. So here we would have y is equal to 8 divided by 4, which gives me 2. How did we get this 3? It would have been the 12 substituted into the equation. So I'll just do that here as well. 12 divided by 4, which gives me 3. So here we have 16 divided by 4. So y is equal to 16 divided by 4, which gives me 4. And then 24 divided by 4, which is 6. And then 32 divided by 4, which is 8. So the 3 was just given as an answer. It was just given there as one of the answers. So our answers are 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8. Okay, so once we have completed function tables and we have our x and y, we are able to graphically represent the function. So the procedure is to first complete that function table, then we would convert those values into ordered pairs or coordinates. So the x value is always first, and then the y value is our second number in our ordered pair. After that, you can set up your graph like this. Horizontal is always x, and the vertical is the y. All right, so that's our x-axis, that's our y-axis. And now we can take our ordered pairs and we can plot them on our axis, and then you can also connect the points. Okay, so let's do a quick review here. I'll give students a chance to plot this. If you're interested, just let me know in the chat to plot a point. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 10. So I'll need 10 volunteers to help plot. Okay, so we're just going to do a quick review of plotting on a graph. So when we have an ordered pair, it looks like this. The first value is always x, the second value is always y. So I'm just going to do the first one as an example just for review. So A is 7, 5. So 7 is my x value, so I'm going to go across to 7. And 5 is my y value, and I'm going to go up to 5. So I'm going to put my point here, and I'm going to label it A. To the class. So we just finished plotting all these points on the grid. This is just a quick answer key of it. All right, so let's look at how we can go from a function, how we can go to a graph. That's the whole point of doing this, is we want to go from a function, complete the function table, get our coordinates, and then fill out our graph. So let's take a look here at our function. We have y equals 2x. So remember 2x, that means it's 2 times x. So y is equal to 2 times 0, which is 0. Next, we have y is equal to 2 times 1, which is equal to 2. Next, we have y is equal to 2 times 2, which is equal to 4. And next, we have 2 times 3, which is equal to 6. So there's our function. We've completed our table. Let's write down our coordinates. So when x is 0, y is 0. That's how we get our coordinates, 0, 0. When x is 1, y is 2, 1 and 2. And our next coordinate is when x is 2, our y is 4. And lastly, when x is 3, our y is 6. So those are our coordinates. Okay, so Now that we have our coordinates, we can now plot them on our coordinate grid. So the first one is 0, 0. So 0, 0 would go here. Next is 1, 2. So I go over 1, up 2. That goes there. Next I have 2, 4. So over 2, up 4. My coordinate goes there. And then I have 3, 6. So over 3, up 6, and it goes there. All right, and then you can draw a line through it. Let's see, do I have line? There we go. There is the graph for this function. So that is the graph for y equals, this is the graph for y equals 2x. That's what a graph looks like for y equals 2x. All right, and good question there. It always goes x first and then y for coordinates. Okay, so this is the one we had already done previously, but I'm just going to quickly do it again for review. So we have 0 for x. 8 times 0 is 0, so this was 2. Next we had 8 times 1 plus 2, which gave me 10. Next was 8 times 2 plus 2, which was 16, plus 2, which is 18. Next was 8 times 3, which was 24, plus 2, which was 26. And then the last one was 8 times 4, which is 32, plus 2, which gave me 34. So now that we have our points, now that we have our values for y, we have our coordinates. So our first coordinate is 0, 2. So I'm going to put it here as a coordinate. Our next one is 1, 10. Our next one is 2, 18. Then we have 3, 26. And we have 4, 34. There's our coordinates. But notice we don't have this scaled. So I'll fill in a scale here. So let's go up by 2's probably. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34. Because our highest is 34. Our highest for our x value is 4. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that scale, and then we'll fill our graph. Oh, here is what the graph looks like after we've plotted it. Okay, so we've plotted each point. So 0, 2, 1, 10, 2, 18, 3, 26, and 4, 34. All right, here were all our coordinates that we got from completing our function table.